Do you think having tattoos affect your chances of getting onto the JET program?
Like, it was pretty shocking to a lot of teachers. I went against what one of my JTs recommended me doing.
Did you ever have any issues with parents over the years with your tattoos?
It's unfortunate, but it's, it's the reality. It does get to you, like, from time to time. Like, I felt really self-conscious about it. And so I've learned to put my boundaries on, you can look, but don't touch.
Hello! Welcome back to my channel where I talk about Japan and the JET program. So if either of those things interest you, then be sure to subscribe. So you may have heard about tattoos in Japan, that they're kind of a bit taboo. You may have heard that they're associated with the Yakuza or the Japanese Mafia, and that people just generally don't really like them here. So I have invited Perla here today, an ALT who, as you can probably tell, has a fair few tattoos herself. And we're going to be discussing what having tattoos on JET is like, what having tattoos in Japan is like, the limitations that having tattoos in Japan puts on you, and about getting tattoos in Japan if that's something that you're interested in. So stay tuned for all of that. Okay, so let's go all the way back to the beginning, before you came to Japan. Do you think having tattoos affect your chances of getting onto the JET program?
I know it's different from country to country. So I think in the States, from what I heard, they do ask on the form, like if you have tattoos. And I don't know if they ask you like how many or blah, blah, blah. But in Canada, like at least when I applied, they didn't have that at all. When I went for the interview, normally you're wearing a suit, like you've got the long kind of dress shirt, the like blazer and everything. So I was just fully covered up. So nobody could see anything. So I'm pretty sure, as like the one JT's expression when she saw me roll up for the first time, like it was pretty shocking to a lot of teachers. Jesus, what is that?
And you've been here for almost 3 years now, and no one said anything to you in that time at school negatively?
No, for the most part, it comes more from a perspective of being curious, of like, why do you have that on that body? Like, why do you like tattoos so much, kind of thing? But not anything negative. Good. At least to my face.
Yeah.
Who knows me if they're talking shit behind my back.
You never know, you never know.
Yeah.
Did you see the new ALT's tattoos?
Yes, OMG, so horrific.
I know.
Oh shit, here she comes.
Ha 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 ha.
You have that self-introduction lesson as your first lesson with the kids, so what kind of things did the kids say or ask, or how excited were they by the fact you had tattoos, or nervous, perhaps?
Okay, so I don't know if this is gonna work for everybody, but I went against what one of my JTs recommended me doing, because I did approach her beforehand and was like, hey, as you can tell, like I do have quite a bit of tattoos on me, should I cover them up? And she did kind of tell me, oh, like it's not really custom here for people to be as heavily tattooed, so it might be a bit shocking to the students, aka her way of politely telling me that I should probably be covered up. I did not do that. I do remember rocking up for my self-intro, and I was writing my name on the board. I straight up just like rolled my sleeve down and did it, and I made it as a point because I kind of felt like, and I did talk to her about afterwards, saying that, hey, for the most part I can try to make an effort to be covered up, but the students are gonna see it. Like, I have enough tattoos that, like, any little thing that I just slightly roll it down a few centimeters, like, you're gonna see something. And I think it's just better to be honest about it and address it and be like, hey, this is a thing, and kind of, move on from there. I think maybe because I had that attitude from the get-go, things have been pretty smooth for me.
So what kind of things did the students ask? Was it the same kind of questions that the teachers asked, or was it more of a just like, oh my god, kind of statements?
I mean, there's a mix of that.
Okay.
So some of my kids have like straight up like felt my arm. But that's fine. Like, I'm with the kiddos, like, I'm like, okay, it's genuinely, like, they're curious. And the kids, once they get more comfortable with you, like, definitely they don't have filters. And so I've had, kids on the regular now still ask me, like, do they hurt? How much do they cost? What was my first tattoo? My favorite tattoos? With kids, like, there's just an endless, always, like, always asking me questions about it. So Yeah.
That's kind of cute though. Does it bother you? Like, does it get annoying after a while, or do you like it?
No, I personally like it because for me, I have noticed that like in general with kids and just in life, my tattoos seem to be like a pretty good conversation starter. I feel like I get a bit of like street cred with the boys because they always tell me like I'm cool.
She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment.
I've had 1 or 2 boys be like, oh, when I'm like older, I want to get this like sick like tiger tattoo on my back. And I'm like, oh yeah, do it. You know, wait until you're 20. That's the age in like Japan. But like wait until then. But like fully support it. So.
Oh, that's so wholesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Did you ever have any issues with parents over the years with your tattoos?
I don't really interact or see parents much apart from like the special events, like with like the cultural festival or like the entrance ceremonies and stuff. If I know that there might be parents around, or if I happen to know ahead of time that there might be other kind of like officials in the school, then I will do my best to cover up.
And you don't have any pressure to do that, that's just your decision?
Yeah, my school's never really directly said anything to me.
Do you think it depends on the school? Do you think other schools would have had an issue with it?
I think so, because like sometimes some people who will comment about like having tattoos, and that's a pretty popular question on the JET program page. There have been some people who have said that like their schools have been explicitly telling them that they need to be covered up. You know?
That's a shame. And how about in general in the public in Japan? What kind of reaction do you get from people?
When I'm in, say, for example, Osaka, nobody really bats an eye. Like I can just freely walk around. It's not a big deal. It's more when I'm in the Inaka or even in our like kind of neighborhood sometimes, like I will get 1 or 2 sort of like, they think they're being discreet at looking at me, but they're not. I've learned to kind of tune it out. But in the beginning, I did feel pretty self-conscious. Like especially because you're new, you don't know what the fuck you're doing, and when you're walking around and you can feel that people are kind of like watching your every move, like it is really intimidating.
Were those kind of reactions that you got from people, did that match your expectations, or were you surprised?
A bit surprised. I knew that I was going to get some attention for being a foreigner and for the way that I look, but I think at times it has kind of shocked me, like how people will downright like just stare and just not realize like, hey, yo, you're being a little rude there. So,
do you think that people's attitude towards you with tattoos is different to other Japanese people with tattoos?
oh, definitely. Yeah.
How does that differ, do you think?
Just like in many things here in Japan, when you're a foreigner, you're immediately kind of like dismissed, or it's okay to do that.
Get like a free pass and all that stuff?
You do.
What? This is outrageous. It's unfair.
If you are Japanese or you are Asian in general and you are heavily tattooed, you're probably going to get judged a lot more harshly.
So turning it around a little bit, do you see many Japanese people with tattoos, and what is your reaction to them?
I do, but like I said, that's kind of more when I'm in Osaka. I see it a lot more. I have noticed that like a lot of the ones that I have seen that have quite a bit of work done on them, they tend to do kind of more the half sleeve, so it's a little bit more easy to cover it up. Although I have seen 1 or 2 like women who've been straight up just like full on like almost full body tats, and that really did like, I was shooketh.
Did you stare at them?
I did.
What's the weirdest or most negative kind of experiences that you've had in relation to your tattoos?
I had this one time when I was visiting a friend actually out in Wakayama. There was this older guy at the bar, and I guess he was super fascinated by my tattoos, and he asked if he could look. So I, you know, when people are like, oh, can I see something? It's like, okay, cool. By natural, like I just stick my arm out, like, here you go. This man like fully just like grabbed my arm and was like, you know, twisting it this way, twisting it that way, like fully inspecting my arm, was like at it for like a good 5 minutes.
Oh my god.
So everybody around me was visibly getting more and more uncomfortable. And then eventually, you know, he thanked me, walked away, and then my friend was, you know, afterwards was like straight up telling me like, I'm pretty sure that was just an excuse for him to like touch you.
Oh no!
That's so upsetting.
And so I've learned to put my boundaries on, you know, you can look, but don't fucking touch.
Boundaries are important. Let's talk about limitations now. What kind of things are you not allowed to do because of tattoos?
Tatami? Tattoo?
What kinds of stuff are you not allowed to do because of tattoos? What kind of places generally forbid them, or do you get turned away from and stuff like that?
I knew this before coming to Japan, which is onsen, so the public bathhouses that are popular here. I know that usually is pretty strict, a no tattoo policy. My advice, honestly, like just don't go in the city, because the further out you're from the city, like if you go out to the Inaka, they seem to like really not care. And I actually recommend going out to Oita, because they do not give a fuck out there about tattoos. You can pretty much go to any onsen in there. It's great. So I knew about that. I knew about gyms. Gyms seems to be very hit or miss. Some will tell you straight up like no. Some will say you need to be covered up while you're there. I think that's kind of fine if you have like 1 or 2 tattoos. Personally, I just can't be bothered to
Especially when you're like working out and in like the summer as well. You don't be in long sleeves every time.
Exactly. Okay, the one that I was really shocked when I went out to Kobe one time to Suma Beach is that there were fucking signs. If you're tattooed, you can only sit on one side of the beach and not the other. So I remember just being absolutely like,
What the fuck is going on in here on this
beach?
In your day-to-day life, do you feel pressured to like cover up and stuff?
I feel like I did for quite a while. Because sometimes you're kind of just mentally feeling kind of drained, and you know, unfortunately, being a foreigner in a country where you're not really familiar with like the customs and the language, like it does kind of get to you. And there are days where I'm like, you know what? I want to minimize the attention I get. So yeah, I'm gonna cover up. It's unfortunate, but it's, you know, it's the reality. It does get to you like from time to time. Like I felt really self-conscious about it. But now I would say it's not too much of a big deal.
And since you've come to Japan, you've actually gotten a few new tattoos in your time here.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about what that was like? Was it difficult to find places that would give you tattoos, or you know, what's that process like in Japan?
For me, it was not so much like difficult to find a place that would give me tattoos. It's just more the artwork and the style. I'm more predominantly more traditional Americana style. Japan has its own style here that's very popular. So while I admire that, that's not the type of art that I necessarily want on my body. So it did take time to kind of find an artist or find artwork that I really kind of felt like it matched better with my style. They're definitely like a lot more in Tokyo, but there are a few in Osaka that like I do appreciate now. Is
there anything else that you want people who are thinking of coming to Japan with tattoos to know, or that you think they should know, or any advice you want to give them, or basically anything at all you want to say to people thinking of coming here?
I think it shouldn't hold you back at all. I think you should still, you know, apply for JET. If you really want to come out here, like go for it. Maybe you will feel self-conscious. Hopefully you don't have any bad experiences and people say anything negative about it. For the most part, it has been positive for me, and I think it's normal to feel a bit self-conscious.
Great.
Can't think of anything.
No, that's great though.
Okay.
We love positivity. I'm mostly glad that it was just such a positive experience at your school, because like if it wasn't, that would have really been a massive downer on your time in Japan.
Yeah, and I think I probably wouldn't have recontracted, because it's already bad enough that I feel like I have to put that that restriction there that I try to cover up. But like knowing that like you have to do it this way, you're forced to do it this way, I don't know if I would have lasted the 3 years, to be honest, because I feel like it would have just eventually got to me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
When I conclude the video, do you want me to like plug anything, like any social medias or anything, or no?
I mean, you can, if you want. You can plug in like my Insta, because yeah, I do post of like places that I've been to and stuff like that. So like if anybody wants any information, like even people who are here in Japan or people who are coming and they have places they want to check out, like I have a few places that's like I know you can go here and it's fine. They don't care about tattoos. So
awesome. Yeah, okay, well then I will definitely link Perla's Instagram in the description. Thank you so much for doing this. I hope it is helpful to anyone out there with tattoos who's been curious about or nervous about what it would be like to come here with them. If you have any questions, you can comment them below. You can, I guess, find Perla on Instagram. If you did find this video helpful, give it a little like. I'd appreciate that. And we'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye bye.